Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 207. How you doing this fine day? I trust you and yours are doing well. I can always tell when a podcast that I've done is popular or gets people thinking because my inbox fills up. And last week, you guys were busy. I appreciate you all sitting there and taking time to write, ask questions. Hope my answer help you move your photography forward, because that's what it's all about. We're in this together, folks, so the more we can do together, the better we're all off. I want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camphor, that's bedfords.com, for sponsoring the Moose Podcast, helping us all move that ball forward. You know, lots of things are going on, lots of new gear coming out, questions. You might find the answers there at bedfords.com. I know you're going to find the gear, so make sure when you click and say buy, like I did this last week. Yep, again, what can I say? I'm an addict. My name is Moose. Make sure you click on buy and that discount code, put in MOOSE, get that discount, save yourself sales tax for most states, and then no shipping, orders over $99. Also, their PhotoCon is going virtual next month. I've sent in my class, brand new class I made just for that event. So show your support, learn some stuff, lots of stuff, have some fun at Bedford's PhotoCon coming up in October. Let's get right to this week's topic. Are you a Rube Goldberg photographer? Now, for many of you, you know what I'm talking about when I say Rube Goldberg. For those who don't, he was a cartoonist way back when who would show this very long, elaborated way around something to make something simple happen. Rube Goldberg. You might have heard that expression. That's where it came from. And as a kid, that came up many times. My father brought it up to me in many different ways. Well, this past year, they have a, for lack of better terms, contest. And with COVID, as you might imagine, they couldn't do it as normal. So they did it virtually. And if you haven't seen some of the things that folks came up with, it's just absolutely amazing. Now, you could, synthesize it all down. If you ever play the old game Mousetrap, yeah, that's kind of a Rube Goldberg kind of thing. Well, what's that got to do with photography? Darn good question. Now, I know when I started out, example, didn't have money for tripods and monopods and that stuff when I first started out. It was, tough times. So trying to find a Rube Goldberg kind of solution that costs a lot of less money, solving the same problem, is something I spent way too much time doing. Now, one of the things I remember, and I only remember it because in the move up to the ranch, I actually found this thing, was how would you keep a camera steady when you're hand holding? And that's why you have a tripod or monopod. And yes, I know a lot of people say you can only get sharp on a tripod. I don't know. What can I say? I do it all the time. And it's just one less thing that's a hassle. But back when I started, I heard that word advice. And I said, I better go out and buy a tripod or a monopod. Well, dang, they're money. So back in the day, one of the things was you would get this old brass chain. You can still find it in the hardware store. I don't remember exactly what it's called. It's kind of a rectangular chain mesh. And what you do is on one end, you would buy a little quarter 20 attachment screw, and then on the other end, you make a loop for your foot. And you take this chain and you make it the right length for you, and you would put your foot on the one end in the loop, then you screw the other end to your camera, then you'd pull up tight on this while you're shooting to get a sharp picture. Now, I look back at that and I think, what was I thinking when I did that? Because, first of all, the first concept is you have to pull up tight on it. which means that human nature, all your photographs will be shot at the same angle. That's bad. 2, you have to carry this chain around, which was like, what a pain in the arse. So it was a Rube Goldberg attempt of simply what? If you practice proper hand holding and practice it every day for 5 minutes, you don't need a chain, okay? Or like some of my peers like to talk about, always having a tripod. I have a tripod for a sharp picture, which, yeah, I'm sorry. If you practice, you don't need that either all the time, unless you're shooting like for 30 minutes. And then, yeah, your arms get tired. Well, what else can you think about that's Rube Goldberg or vice versa? What I mean by vice versa? Well, if you've been listening to the Moose podcast or the website or my books, you know I go with the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, most people don't realize the main reason why that thing that my dad pounded on my head actually finally took hold when I was, in my 30s as a photographer, was because when you keep it simple, stupid, it's something you can repeat. That's the problem. I'm sitting here at the ranch doing chores, and I walk out the door, and I'm going to go, what am I going to do? And I have to go, what the hey? And I have to backtrack my steps to figure out what I was going to do when I was walking out the door. I mean, with photography, if I make it complicated, I know for a fact that I'm going to forget something in that process. If there's a set of recipes, yeah, I'm toast. So if it's just a couple things, keep it simple, stupid, boom, I'm there. I can most of the time deal with it. Most of the time is underline, emphasize, bold type. Because, I get tired of all the goof ups I make, but that's part of life. But if you're a Rube Gold photographer, you've probably made things so complicated, convoluted for yourself that by the time you get to the end goal, you probably haven't remembered what the end goal was when you began. That's kind of like the whole Rube Gold philosophy. Now, of course, he made fun of it, and the whole thing was to be humorous and to laugh at ourselves. But when you go out and shoot and all of a sudden you're not getting the photographs you want, it's not really a laughing matter, is it? It's kind of frustrating. So perhaps, just saying perhaps, maybe you should look at it a little bit differently. Now, I've had a number of Zoom conversations and with photographers over the last few weeks. Last one was really great. A photographer had emailed me a list of gear, and he wanted to know what my thought was about what he might sell, what he might keep, and what he might buy based on his goals today and what he thinks are coming tomorrow. Now, that to me is kind of a keep it simple, stupid kind of scenario. It's real simple. You're not using it, it goes. You use it, you keep it. And if you need it, you buy it. Kind of simplistic. Or the Rube Goldberg scenario is you keep all that gear and you keep buying more gear. So then what? When you go out in the field to go shooting, you're taking with yourself way too much gear. So then when you park that vehicle and you want to go to grab that lens, you're going, what lens should I grab? And if you keep it simple, stupid, you only have a few options. Makes it a whole lot faster, simpler, and funner. Now, can Rube Goldberg go beyond just camera gear? Techniques? Heck yeah. I can really quickly go right into Photoshop. Had a person about 10 days ago wanted help. Sent me a screen capture of their layers list in Photoshop. And you got to wonder sometimes if I'm not just making up these stories. Because I do have a t-shirt that says, I make up shit, right? But yeah, these stories are way, way too good. I can't make this stuff up. And this person had 33 layers. Yeah, not one, not two, 33. It took 3 screen captures to show me all the layers. And the person said, I don't get it. What I do wrong? I was like, wow, Rube Goldberg invaded your Photoshop. 33 layers. Where did they go wrong? Well, I was like, I said, I have to do something, I can't just do this in email. Can we Zoom? And we haven't Zoomed yet. And I said, you got to understand that what you did wrong started at the camera. And 33 layers later, you're still trying to make up for what you can't do because you didn't get it at the camera. It's if an image isn't sharp, it's not sharp. Boom, you're done, right? If your image has this big ass rock right in the middle of the frame in the foreground, you can make it go away, but it's going to be like the sore thumb. It's going to be like, I wonder why you arranged the rest of the elements in the frame for something that was, for this foreground, why didn't you move? And if you're listening, my apologies, but first thing I came up with when I saw 33 layers in 4 different screen captures was truly my favorite quote from Jon Stewart. Yep, I've said it before. You can't polish a turd. Rube Goldberg is in a lot of people's post-processing. Rather than saying, I've been here for an hour and the picture still kind of blows chunks, maybe adding another filter isn't the answer. Maybe the answer is, go on. Learn from your mistake, make mental and or physical notes so next time you're out shooting, you don't do the same thing. It's common sense. It's kind of obvious, but only when you've gotten to the other side of the hill. A lot of photographers are still going up that hill, and it's a challenge. I'm telling you from someone who's gone up that hill and done all those mistakes and fallen into those giant pits that you have, that climbing out and getting over the top, don't do there. Don't sit there and, dig those holes. Don't go that way. Keep it simple, stupid. That's one of the reasons why way back when, you got to realize that, when I started using Photoshop, I had 2 squirrels underneath the table generating the power to make the whole thing work. I've been doing it that long. And it was really quick and obvious that you got to get in and out really fast. You have to, that's why I have that maximum 2-minute clock when I'm working on any image, because otherwise I know I toasted it when I took the picture. And yeah, I toasted. You don't think any photographer you see, on the web or, showing off their gorgeous work doesn't have a bunch of crap somewhere that they, we all screw up. That's part of the process. The trick here is to learn from that failure, not Rube Goldberg trying to make it into a success, and learn from it. And that's the goal. That's how you push this thing called photography forward. You've got to learn from those mistakes, keep it simple, stupid, so every time you go out, you can replicate what you did correctly and not replicate what you did wrong. And that means keeping it simple, stupid, which is the 180 degrees from Rube Goldberg kind of stuff. Now, for you younger folks, and hey, there's a bunch of you listening now, and I'm really grateful, so thank you. Go check out Rube Goldberg, because one, you're gonna laugh at his cartoons. They are really quite hilarious, and some of the YouTube stuff you've probably seen. It's really entertaining. But lastly, it can help your photography. Just saying to yourself, "Yep, I'm not going to Rube Goldberg at this time. I'm going to keep it simple, stupid, and show you the wonders I'm so fortunate to see." You guys stay safe. Wear that mask and keep on writing. I appreciate all your emails and all the love you keep sending. And remember to make every click your story.